Hello, everyone. Is Donald Trump going to be assassinated by the CIA? Now, I'm starting to see all this this interesting talk that Donald Trump is defying the Central Intelligence Agency because they've come out with the report, of course, that Russia hacked the election. And I made a video about that, how they blamed Russia Today partially because of Mike Flynn's connections to Russia Today. Also because of Russia Today's seemingly very directed propaganda campaign towards getting Donald Trump elected, which was simply not true. Or was true, but that's what they do. They're more anti-American than they would be for pro-Donald Trump. And yes, they did like Donald Trump, but so did Fox News. So did Les Moonves from CNN saying, or excuse me, from CBS saying, I don't think Donald Trump's good for the country, but he's good for business. So why doesn't the CIA, FBI go after those media sources, or go after the right wingers, go after InfoWars, go after Drudge? They helped certainly, and they're inside the United States. They certainly, and they lied. They made fake stories up. They slanted the coverage pro-Trump. They would say how outside the box, outside this, or he was, or what a good man he was, or how different he was, or how he's going to change everything. And they influenced the election too. So why not go after them? But you can't go after them because that's freedom of speech. But you can certainly go after a foreign government, which, by the way, you're trying to create a new Cold War with. So the CIA is. Donald Trump has denied all this. He said there's no voting machine hacks. There was no corruption on state levels. That Clinton's a sore loser, and everyone's a sore loser. This is the same shit you heard when Gore lost. Gore didn't lose. He, of course, won by how many hundreds of thousands of votes? I think like 500,000, ended up being 1 million, 1.5 million, something like that. Trump has lost by 3 million votes. The Electoral College and the gerrymandering of this country's Midwestern states that are heavily controlled by Republicans is what shifted the tide for Trump. Nobody wanted Trump, really. They really didn't. Hillary Clinton got more votes for president than any other human being. People understood what was at stake. They went out and voted, and because of election theft, that's why Trump is president. You can pretend all this mandate shit. There was no mandate. He didn't even win. So if you don't win, there's no mandate. And Trump understands this. Trump understands this like the Republicans understand this. It's not really about how you play the game. It's about the ending. If we win or lose, it's Lombardi. Nothing else. Bill Belichick. He's been caught spying. They had the Deflate Gate. He's been caught filming practices and walkthroughs of his opponent. He's been caught. Peyton Manning said he thought the locker room was bugged at the stadium. Many other people have said many other things about Bill Belichick. These guys don't care about anything else but winning. That's it. And so winning is all that matters. You'll do anything to do that. And that's what Trump does, and that's what Republicans do. Democrats don't quite feel the same way about it. I don't think they want to disfranchise. I don't think they're as aggressive. They're not as authoritarian either. But I don't want to get off on that. I don't want to get off on a psychological thing here. This video is about, will the CIA take out Donald Pumpkin Trump? I'm calling it Pumpkin because that's his color. So Pumpkin Trump. Will Pumpkin Trump will the CIA do some vast conspiracy and, from some shooter and from some sixth floor in some building somewhere, will he take out Donald Trump? Now, Donald Trump is the president of the United States, and I'm certainly, I worry. And I'll tell you what I'm worried about. Not that Donald Trump will be assassinated, but that Donald Trump won't be. No, I'm kidding. I don't advocate, let me be clear. I don't advocate anybody violence on anyone ever. And so I'm just simply making a video that's more hyperbole than anything else. But it would seem to me if he's so countered the CIA, why is the CIA not? Why are they training guys right now? Operation Mongoose. Are they using some of those old Cubans? Are you going to start seeing a lot of Cubans around lately? And you can take this to Nixon as well. Nixon, there's this conspiracy that Watergate was all about the CIA removing Richard Nixon out of the White House. I haven't fleshed this one out enough. I want to do a video about it, and I want to do a decent video about it. But there's a lot of disinformation about Watergate. I just know after Mark Felt came out and said, he was the FBI agent who was Deep Throat. When Mark Felt admitted that, I realized right then that it was the FBI that was feeding information directly to reporters about an investigation about the president. If you think about that, that's incredible. And what they were doing, what was happening was they were trying to out a president. They were trying to get him out of office. Is something similar going to happen to Donald Trump? And Donald Trump is a much more, and a lot of people think the reason Nixon was taken out of office was because he was opening up the borders to China and Russia. He wanted to start trading with Russia. He had met with Russia and China. So a lot of people did not like that and thought he was a little bit becoming, but the reason he could do it was because he was such an aggressive anti-communist when he was, in the 50s and 40s, that he could get away with it. In the 30s, this is one conspiracy theory, but the reason I think Trump is flaunting all of what the intelligence community wants. He's not other than Iran. I think the intelligence community, particularly the CIA, has always wanted Iran. They have not been able to get the will of the American people, countries around the region, and frankly, a successful and absolute win an absolute check in the win column. Meaning, if you attack Iran, because Iran is a modern society with 1 million soldiers. They have 1 million well-trained soldiers. They're not nuclear, but they are a well-trained military. If you go in there and you don't use overly aggressive force, nuclear weapons, nuclear drone strikes in certain areas, you're not going to win. And when I say win, it can't be like Iraq. Remember how long Iraq took. Iraq started in 1991. And it even started earlier than that when America was paying for Iranians to kill Iraqis and Iraqis to kill Iranians in the 80s. They had been trying to destabilize Iraq for a very long time. Saddam Hussein was an agent, was an asset of the CIA. They had used him in different, the Ba'athist Party assassinations, etc. So I think the American intelligence community doesn't have that same ability in Iran. And if they're going to attack Iran, it has to be a good old-fashioned overwhelming of force, and I don't think that will work. So if they do invade Iran, it's got to be absolute. And the military knows this. The military, one of the reasons I think the Obama administration and the military and everybody else who aided that Iranian deal was because they understand this. But there is a whole group of people in Washington, and Donald Trump has filled his cabinet with them, that don't agree with that. They don't agree that Iran should stay the way it is and that needs regime change. They want to get away from Syria as much. They're not because of Russia's involvement, and they want to go after Iran. And the CIA, like I said, has wanted Iran since the 40s. So because that's the most oil in the world is in Iran. It's the most oil in the world that's easiest to get to is in Iran. So, and America knows that strategically they must have that, or at least the companies that America reps for must have that and must control that region. So, and then you have the Strait of Hormuz issue as well. The Strait of Hormuz is a crucial point to get oil in and out of. And America has a very tenuous, America and other oil companies through Kuwait, et cetera. American and other oil companies, that was a Freudian slip, or not even really that Freudian. But the Western powers know how important the Strait of Hormuz is as well. So Trump is for heavy military. He's talking about rebuilding the military. Now, we spend more than, here's America spends $600+ billion a year on the military. Almost $1 trillion with all the subsidies throughout the year. Without they give you more money here and more money and more money. Not subsidies, but you know what I'm talking about. Then the line items that get, in. Then next is China. Then next is India. The next is the UK. Then the next, and they all are on about 100 million, 150 million. America spends 700 million. The next closest spends about 100 million, 120, 150 million. Then like fourth or fifth down is Russia. The UK and Saudi Arabia both spend more money on their military than Russia does. And Russia's our main threat. And my point with that is Russia spends $59 billion a year. We spend $622 billion and they spend $59 billion. Do you see the disparity there? There is no competition. This is what the Cold War did, and this is what the Cold War was. It didn't change. Russia is reducing its military budget. The only people that are upping their military budget is America. China is reducing theirs or leveling off because they're having an economic crisis, and they know that they cannot keep feeding the war machine that they don't use because you don't use it. It just sits there. And it's a deterrent more than anything else. And in America, it's turned into big business. War is a racket, Smedley Butler, the whole thing, blah, blah. And so now it's become, the Pentagon is just a subsidy for highly technologically advanced, corporations. And the Pentagon just came out. I made a video about this. The Pentagon lost $7 trillion. $7 trillion of your tax dollars they lost. Just gone. Gone. No excuse. And nobody's going to be able to go into the Pentagon and arrest anybody for any of this because the Pentagon is the guys that have all the guns. The cops are going to go to the Pentagon and arrest generals. Sure. So I just think so Trump is really pro-military, and he's put all these generals in positions of power in his administration, and he loves generals. But I don't know if he loves the CIA as much. And the CIA is its own entity. It's the corporation. It's its own thing. And if they feel threatened, what is going to be their reaction? I'm just curious. Will there be no reaction? Will there just be, okay, well, this business as usual? I think Trump, in the first 18 months of his administration, will be locked into multiple legal battles. I think that he will start to feel the weight of the federal government, and the media will turn on him because the media loved Trump before he was president. The media will not love him afterwards. The media will not treat him with such kid gloves if they can find one. If he gets involved in a financial scandal that's easy enough to understand or something to that nature, which he's already involved with multiple ones, the media will just do what they always do with anybody. They'll just attack him every day. It'll be on the 24-hour news cycle, and it'll just constantly be, and he'll be, whatever power he may have thought he had or with the media will be diminished. He can't sue everybody. You can't sue the entire world, and that's what will happen to Trump. I think he'll be involved in scandals that involve his business dealings with India. He's got, one of the reasons he wanted Tulsi Gabbard in his administration was because of her connections to India. And she said no. She kind of laughed at it, actually. But she actually met with him in Trump Tower because she's a Hindu, and she's the representative from Hawaii, and she's a Democrat. And I like her anti-war stance, and I like that she went to DAPL. I like she went to North Dakota to defend the protesters. I like some of the stuff she does, and she's very connected to the Indian president, current Indian president, who is part of the RKK or whatever they are, which was the party essentially that killed Gandhi, and so or helped fund it. So she's connected to a lot of interest. I'm not connecting her to the killing of Mahatma Gandhi. That's not what I'm doing. What I'm saying is there's connections there, and Donald Trump wanted her part of the administration because of her incredible connections in India. I mean, she's loved in India. She really is, and so. And there's no problem with that. But I find it funny that, I just found that funny that Trump thought he was going to get her in there. And she's part of this new, I just hope these Democrats aren't neoliberals, aren't neo-Democrats, aren't neoliberals. I don't mean neoliberalism like in the economics. I mean new liberals. I just hope they're not part of this new neo-Democrat thing that's coming, this middle class, Wall Street. It's been here. It's not coming. It's been here. I hope she's different, but I don't know. I don't think Keith Ellison is. I don't think she is. I think they're all kind of the similar power structure, of the Democrats. But anyway, but I would like to see if Trump defies the CIA, I don't think they'll Kennedy him. I think they'll Nixon him, and I really do. I think his economic issues are so vast, and his problems are so many that they won't be difficult. And the president of the United States. You start to find out, you saw it with Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton was essentially disgraced over and over and over again because of an affair. Can you imagine if Donald Trump's business dealings, like a court actually subpoenas those and says, no, those documents will be released. You will tell us where your money is. You will tell. If you don't, we will start impeachment process. We will start the impeachment process. And certainly Democrats and Republicans would get on board with that. They'd have to. And if it was financial, if it was something major. And I think there's a lot of those things that Donald Trump is involved with. He's in the Deutsche Bank. He's involved with Deutsche Bank. He has $1.5 billion all that he is in debt to multiple Wall Street firms. He's in debt to Chinese banks. He's in debt to Russian banks. He has Russian connections and businesses that are in debt. He is the most compromised financial president that we've ever had by far, not even close. And I think in the first 18 months, I think we're going to start. I think there's a potential chance that there will be impeachment proceedings, and I don't know, and we'll see. Like I said, if Trump continues. My main thesis is if Trump continues down this road with the CIA, will he be Kennedy'd? Will he be JFK'd? Or will he be Nixon'd? Time will tell, or neither. Maybe this is all just an act, and they love Donald Trump, and who knows. Thank you for listening, and have a great day.